Jesus fuck. Hello, everybody. Welcome to True Encounters with Marvin Allen and the Doug Pack. Just waiting for some people to get in the Chizat. Hey, Kay. Hey, Kay, don't forget to talk to your friend and see if she'll share her encounter with us, so I can tell her encounter and yours too at the same time. So don't forget. That's what I want to do. I want to tell both of y'all encounters at the same time. So just don't forget that. Antonio, dude from Texas, hey buddy. We got a guest coming on. I'll wait a few minutes before I bring her on. But we got one coming on tonight, and that was short notice. Don't forget to hit that like button, y'all. That was short notice, but I'm glad that she decided to come on, and that she gonna talk about some things that been going on up in her area. So I mean, I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for that. Hey, I'm live now. I'm grateful for that, y'all. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Kay. Hello, everybody. Waiting for some more people to get in, cause there's people in there, but everybody not on. Everybody not on. Everybody not on the inside the chat. So that's what we're waiting for. Then I'm gonna call the eyewitness up, and she gonna talk about some things that been going up on in Michigan. You know, and she say she like in a apartment complex, so it's just crazy though. But it's gonna be good. Hey Barbara. Hey Southern guy. Hello my friend. Hello everybody. Don't forget y'all, if y'all in any other group, go post on y'all group real quick and let them know that Doug Pack is live now. Cause start letting people know in y'all group the days that we go live, so they know, so they can come over and check our show out. Cause like I said, it's gonna get better. You know, but the guest tonight gonna talk about a few things, and I think it's gonna be pretty good. It's gonna be pretty good. It's gonna be pretty good. Yeah, it is. We're gonna wait for some more people to get on here. Waiting for some more people to get on. I did text some people to let them know that we went live tonight. But if y'all part of any group and y'all can go and post that, then that I'd be grateful. I know you is, Kay. Now that's crazy. Now that's close. That's close. That's real close. But I know you glad. That's real close. Don't forget to hit that like button, y'all. Hey, Julie. Hello, Julie. Julie, if you're not a member, can you go and join our group from Phoenix? Dude, post the link up there. Or Antonio, post the link where they go at to join. Hey, Voltron. Hey, my friend. Yeah, I know. It's just, it's just, it's just creepy, man. Because it's like it seems like these creatures show up when you least expect it. Just like them in the side of these roads. How come people always run into them on the side of these dark roads? Like they just be waiting there for a car to come past. Yep, that's what I be thinking. They be waiting. Dude, post a link for people to come and join. Yeah, but like I said though, I'm gonna call an eyewitness and she gonna talk about a few things and one of them gonna be that they saw one laying on the side of the road, you know, but they thought it was something else like a bear until they start seeing humanoid features, and that's just creepy, you know. Like I got a niece that seen one laying, and this one was laying in one of them roads in South Carolina, one of them roads that Harley cars go down like that, and this was like laying out. I mean out. But this thing, it wasn't dead because they thought it was a dead animal until they pulled up close to it and parked about 20 feet from it. But they knew it was just too, it was too big, too huge, too long to be any other animal. You know, and when law enforcement came, they checked her phone, they checked everything to make sure there wasn't no pictures in there or nothing. There was another lady out there. She wanted to take pictures, so they took hers. Now that was creepy. But a couple of more minutes, we can recall. A couple of more minutes, we can recall and call an eyewitness. We can recall an eyewitness in a couple of more minutes. We can recall an eyewitness in a couple of more minutes, y'all. We can ready start playing cryptid trivia too. We're gonna ask something about a cryptid, and we're gonna do it like a multiple choice thing. And I think that's gonna be pretty cool. We trying to do something different that ain't no other channels doing out there. But you can bet when we start something, it's gonna set a trend. Cause it seemed like a lot of things we did, people just started doing. So they just followed after everything we did. Hey Chris, hello my friend. Hey Leela, hit that like button, y'all. Don't forget to hit that like button. Like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget, y'all. Like, comment, and subscribe, y'all. All right, y'all. For everybody that's in here, now from what I see, it say 19. I'm not sure if that's the count, but everybody that's in here now, hey Maximilian, put up a one if y'all ready for this eyewitness to come on. I'm gonna count the ones. Put up a one if y'all ready for the eyewitness to come on. Put them up, y'all. Put up a one if y'all ready for the eyewitness to come on. That's right. Put up a one. And you know what? I'm putting them up too, so it don't even matter. That's right. Put up a one, y'all. That's what I'm talking about. That's why I say we got the best group out there. I love each and every one of y'all. All right, y'all. Calling the eyewitness. Calling the eyewitness now, y'all. Calling the eyewitness now. Hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, y'all. I got the eyewitness on the phone. Her name is Marquetta. Marquetta Jones, and she from Michigan, and she gonna come on here and tell y'all about some things that that she's seen that happened to her, and she got evidence and she got proof, she got video and she got pictures. I just didn't post them to the page yet, but I will post them soon. So without further ado, I'm gonna have her come on. She gonna introduce herself. She gonna tell us where she come from and what made her get into these cryptids, or have she been seeing these all her life? Is there something special about it, and things like that? So Marquetta, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Marvin.
So tell us a little bit about yourself and where you from.
Um, I'm from Michigan. Well, I'm like maybe like 30 minutes away from Detroit. But I live in Bloomfield Hills, Michigan, and it's a population of 4,000 people. So back then it used to be like farmland, and then people, start buying up acres of land to live here. But I was born in Ohio, but my parents moved here when I was a little baby. So I was just raised in Michigan my whole life. So as I got older, I decided to move to the location where I'm at now, and I've always saw these prints, even from another apartment I used to live in the same city. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, that's kind of weird. I'm like, I didn't want to think. I didn't want to think what it was. That's what. Because I mean, we lived around a big lake with like other houses, but we're still like populated with a bunch of trees. It was like surrounded by acres of land and stuff. So then we moved down the street from over here, and it started like we started hearing a noise like soon as we moved in, because there's only very few people living in this building where I'm at now at the time. So we kept hearing like all this running, like somebody. It was just like really loud, like somebody was going to cave inside my roof. But at one point they had to fix my roof because something had happened up there outside, and my roof started leaking. So um, so one day I go to work, and my my husband at the time, called me. He said, "You need to come home right now." I'm like, "Why?" He was like, "It's like we're like a murder scene that's back of our apartment." And I'm like, "Why are you back there in the little woody part anyway? Like, stay from back there because we don't know what's back there." He's like, "Just please come home." So I come home, and it looked like an animal must have been killed back there, because it was like whoever it was, whatever animal it was heavy. So it must have been drugged into the wood area. So my ex went back there, and he was like, "Well, the animal's not back there; it's just blood, and it just disappeared." And I was like, "Look, I was like, get from back there. I wouldn't be back there too long if I were you, because we don't know what's back there." This was like during the wintertime. It was snow out. So he called the maintenance man, and the maintenance man came out. He said, "Look," he was like, "stay from back here." He was like, "I don't know what's back here either, but the trail doesn't lead anywhere. It just stopped at this tree, because the tree that stopped there was really big." So then every day of the week, we kept hearing all this running back and forth on top of the roof. So one day I was outside on the patio at nighttime, and I heard someone like running really hard towards me. And I got scared, so I ran back in and shut the door. So I'm like, okay, this is just getting really creeped out. So he kept calling the maintenance man, saying there was raccoons on top of the roof. He go inside the attic, check. He said there's no raccoons inside the attic. He's like, we'll send somebody to check to see what's on top of the roof, but there's nothing on top of it at the time because it's daytime right now. So it only happens at nighttime. So one day, um, I'm at home, and my ex, I didn't know he went outside about 2 o'clock in the morning to stand up front for some reason. But he said that he saw, it's like across the street, like the next block over, it's like a bunch of acres of land. I think it's 5 acres of land. And he said he saw two big, huge dogs running out of the wood line and ran across the street. And he saw a man was outside and saw the same thing. And the man was so scared, he pulled off without shutting the van door. And he was like really scared. Like he really was scared. He thought it was going to turn back around. So he ran back inside, like shutting the door behind him, like heart pounding. But I was trying to understand what he was saying because why was he like out of breath so hard? And that's when he said it was two huge dogs out of the wood line ran across the street. And I said, stay from outside because if something attacked you and you get drugged off somewhere, I wouldn't know it, you know. So after that, we just kept seeing all those footprints in the back of the apartment building over and over again. And he said, well, maybe I should call animal control. And I'm like, dude, I was like, you cannot call animal control for what that is back there. And he was like, well, no. I said, they can't do anything with it. What they gonna do? They gonna stand there and look. So don't tell them to come over here. So then later on, like 3 years later, my neighbor next door moved next door to me, and she tells me that her mom tells my mom for me to, when I get off of work, because I got off of work 3 o'clock in the morning, she said, make sure you watch her coming in. Because she says, I was outside on the balcony, and I saw a big, huge, giant dog come out of the tree line was really, really big. And I was like, what do you mean? She was like, I'm scared. She was like, I'm moving out. She was like, this is my last day staying here. She said, I was so scared. I was so scared to move to even go back in. So then she went back, she moved the next day. And then one night I was coming in, and my mom told me, she was like, the lady next door's daughter said that she saw a big giant fox coming down the driveway and in the parking lot. And I said, and what did she do? She was like, she just left and kept going. And she didn't come back home till the next day. And I said, so I went to go talk to her. She said, yeah, it's a big giant fox. I said, foxes are not big. They're very small. She said, well, it's a big fox. I'm like, you just in denial what it is. And she said, it looked like it had been like 4 or 5 feet tall. I said, what fox you know is about 4 or 5 feet tall? They're all small. So then she, didn't think anything of it. She never talked about it again. But like every winter, even during the summertime, we still hear these things running back and forth on top of the roof. We see footprints of them. For some reason, like they like coming on the tree, and I think they're stalking the guy downstairs because they are always under his window. And then before he moved over here, was an elderly lady living next building. And one night we had a blackout, and I was charging my phone, and the cops came knocked on my window. They was like on my car door window. And they said, have you seen anybody real tall back here walking? I said, no. She said, well, your neighbor in the next building downstairs said she saw something 9 feet tall just looking in her window. I said, what? I was like, there haven't been anybody came in this parking lot since I've been out here charging my phone. She said, okay. The cops was like about 6 or 10 cops in the back of the wood line looking for whatever was back here. They couldn't find it, and they just left afterwards. And that was it with the lady, because I didn't see her anymore after that. Because usually when, like, her dog would bark when strangers come, but that day the dog didn't bark at all. It was like it was just unforeseen. You usually hear her dog bark outside her apartment door, but you couldn't hear anything. And sorry.
Okay.
And one night it was like dark outside, and I kept hearing the trees shake because the trees are not small; they're pretty big. And I was like, I asked my mother, I was like, what is wrong with the tree? But that's like, it's really moving like really hard, like it's about to fall. And she's like, that could be me moving. I'm like, no. I'm like, this is outside. She's like, could be the wind. I'm like, the wind is not blowing tonight. So after I heard that, I shut my window. And then that's when I started hearing running on top of the roof of the apartment. And I'm like, oh my God, here go these things. So a couple of weeks later, one night, my mom was sleeping, and the tree is out by our window. It's like far off. So one day she heard something like hit her window really, really hard, and she jumped up and around the room. And I was like, when she heard it, you can hear the thing up there running back and forth. So we shut our windows at nighttime. We don't sleep with our windows open anymore, just because of that, because we don't know what is capable. We don't know what it's capable of doing. Can't just open a window and climb through, you know. But the neighbor up front of me, she saw the footprints too, and she said, "Well, I've been trying to research what these footprints are. I don't know what it is, but she was like, my friend has them in her backyard too, and she said they like a little bit bigger." And I told her, I was like, I didn't tell her what it was because she type of person that won't believe me to tell her what it is and stuff. Um, Wherever it is, it's pretty big, and I think it's more than just one of them because um, even from last year we see footprints because they like all through the snow. When in the wintertime you can see it, but everybody on the first floor, their windows for some reason, their screen is all popped out. Like I don't understand why is that. I don't know if they did it or not, but I just thought that was kind of weird. And it's always been some strange stuff. And then like when you drive through the neighborhood, because there's houses behind the apartment, and if you look on people's roof, their house, you see the footprints you see inside the snow. You see it on top of their houses as well. And you can see all through the neighborhood because at nighttime when it goes like completely black, it looks like a blackout over here. So no lights be on. We don't have street lights on in my neighborhood. So the people who do have porch lights on, you can't really see it because it's so faint. But we got a ringer for a camera now and stuff. But the ringer always keeps going off, and I don't ever see anything.
Mm-hmm.
But on top of that, on the ringer, if you go to your community and you look on there, it will say like what's going on. So I have screenshot the thing, and this guy says, he said I thought I heard a big werewolf outside my window. And I was like, now I know these people cannot be in denial because nobody in this neighborhood never sit outside their house, no matter what time of day it is. If you do see them walking, they're walking on the main road. Other than that, no one sits outside their house. Nobody sits in their backyard. Nobody. If they do come outside, they be outside for a very short amount of time. But other than that, they leave or go back inside. And then we usually have a lot of deers over here. We used to be very populated with deers over here in this area. Not anymore. You're lucky to even see 5 deer within a year. We used to have all types of wildlife. We don't see them anymore. They're like seem like they just either they up and left or vanished. I don't know what happened, but they're not like that anymore. You used to
Wow.
see them on a daily basis. Like we
Wow.
had so many deers that you would see them running across the street, up and down the street walking. And then we have a lot of lakes. So it's over in my area. We have a lot of lakes. Like they said, Michigan got over 11,000 lakes. So in my area, it's a good over 30 lakes in my area.
Wow.
And then on the lakes is little islands and stuff. And my friends, they usually go on like the lakes and stuff for the summer. And every time they get near the islands and stuff, what you call it's the coast guard, the coast guard
Yeah.
patrol or whatever.
Yeah.
They'll come and stop them and tell them, look here, you are not allowed to get on this island.
Wow.
Never. They don't even let them even get even. She said they can't even get 10 foot towards the island, and they just pop up like a whole bunch of them just come around and surround them. So you
That
cannot be on the island.
oh, they covering up something. That means that means they hiding something. If they don't want you to
Exactly.
get that close, they hiding something.
Yes, and what's crazy is it'd be a bunch of people on the island, and they like, where did they come from? And they was like, no ones don't know where they came from, but they will pop up instant or will let you know. They will surround you and let you know a bunch of them, and like you cannot get on any island. That's any island that's like that in Michigan. If it's a big lake, it's an island in the middle of. They will not let nobody on there.
Wow. That's Crazy. But that's what
And
they do though. That's what they
it's
do though.
very heavy. Like you can't even see through the woods. It's so thick. You can't even see it. Like it could be sunny daytime. You cannot see through the trees at all. And they told this is what she said at the time. She said, "Well, we don't want nobody to get hurt." And she was like, "What? It doesn't make any sense because before you get on the island, some parts of the island look like a little tiny beach almost. It's a
Mm-hmm.
little mini. But other than that, they won't let nobody get on there." They
Wow.
told her, "Next time, if y'all come back over here trying to get on this island, we're going to arrest all of you."
Ah, wow. And you know what?
I
Not
didn't
to,
arrest
go
people
ahead.
for doing.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Marquetta.
I said I didn't know they could arrest people from even getting on those islands that they have on those lakes and stuff.
Right. But one thing, not to cut you off, but I had went I had did an investigation because I tried to get on this property. It's a spot down in North Carolina. They call this the McCain Forest. And they say if you go back far enough, they say it got quicksand and all that back there. So you gotta watch where you walk at. They say, but once you get back there, they said they see it's like a small lake and it's an island over on the other side with caves and all that over there near this rock
Wow.
formation. And they say the water it's like crystal clear blue. They said it's like that water you see in the Caribbeans.
And that's
And
real
that, and
pretty.
it, and it, yeah, it's crazy though. But they said nobody have been over on this island though.
And
Nobody
the
have
reason
ever
for that
nobody ever
though,
ventured over there because I done had our witness said that they have seen Dougmans standing in the inside of these caves. Just
man,
watching them, and some even swim out over there. Dugs have came up missing and all that. It's crazy and it's real creepy. Now, can you tell the guests about the time when y'all was driving and y'all saw one of these things on the laying on the
oh
side of the road, but y'all thought it was some other kind of animal?
yes, like one day I was where me and my mom we were driving to Toledo, Ohio on I-75, and we was going to see my grandmother. And this is before when they start way before they start building up houses and industrials and stuff. It was like really heavy with wood, and we saw this big, huge wolf. I don't know. It looked like a big, huge, giant wolf to me because it was laying there like it was asleep. It wasn't dead because I know what dead animals like. I know them off instant. But this one right here, he looked like he had been past 7 feet tall, laying aside the road. And my mother was like, "You see that big old big wolf over there?" She's like, She did about 100. Remember, she did 100 to take away from it in case it might wake up. She was like, I don't know what type of wolf dog that is, but I ain't trying to find out. She was like, next time we come down this highway, we're gonna make sure it's about more than 5 cars driving because we were like, it was only 5 cars, me and 4 other cars with her. We on the freeway.
That's creepy. That is creepy. Like
And I'm like, what is that thing on the side of the road? Like, you know, it is very creepy because you know what's crazy about when this thing come around? It stinks really, really, really bad. Like it's horrible. Okay. My mother thinking she's like, oh, she said it's something off the gas line. It stinks so I'm gonna throw up because it makes her throw up sometimes. And I had to call the gas company. They had to do an emergency run to come over here. And they was like, look, here, we did a detector in your apartment. There's no gas leak or no whatever you want to call carbon dioxide in your ears, none of that stuff. But they was like, we can smell it outside, but it's not carbon dioxide. We don't know what it is. It's in the back of the apartment. Like the whole back of the apartment from front and back because he didn't walk in a wood line. He just drove and went like a little bit in between the apartments to test the smell. And he was like, it's not carbon monoxide at all. And the smell comes all the time. And she done called, we done called this, well, she done called it 3 times since that smell came up. And I was like, that's not what it is. And I'm like, every time you call, they keep telling you it's not that smell. It's not carbon monoxide. And my ex at the time, he did the same thing. He's like, it's carbon monoxide. He calls the gas company. It was like, that's not that smell. Like, we
Right.
don't, they said we get a lot of these calls anyway of that smell in people's houses, like especially in the back of their house or in their yard, and it's not that. We don't know what it is.
Right. That's
But they're not gonna be walking. They said, well, one thing we're not gonna walk in the back of the wood line and see where the smell is coming from.
right. And tell them another thing about people don't even want to walk their animals.
Oh, the animals don't even come outside. If they do walk them, they'll walk them in the middle of the road. But it's lately on Ring, there's been a lot of pets been coming up missing, cats and dogs. They can't find them. They put out flyers everywhere. They have not shown up. And people now, they just keep their pets inside their home.
That's
These be,
crazy.
and these be like, like Rottweilers, German Shepherds, those bigger dogs, they don't even let them out. They're like, no, we're not letting you out at all.
That
And
is
just some of
crazy.
some of the areas like where I live at, right? They got those hollows that go way down. We got a lot of those throughout the area too.
Oh, them hollers.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. It's
It's
a
like
lot of them.
real
It's a lot of them in
deep.
Kentucky and stuff. Yeah.
And I'm like, and that's because sometimes I go the back road sometimes to get to like the next city over. Because if I go like on the main road, it be rush hour. It's always car accidents. But through like the area, so all the neighborhoods and stuff, everybody got those hollows in their area, and it just straight with just woods. Like the driveways are so long, like it's very long. Like this day for kids to go trick or treating,
Mm-hmm.
you're not gonna want to walk in the neighborhood. You're gonna just want to just drive up to the house because the houses are way too long in the back. It's like taking a walking trail to a park somewhere.
Yeah. That's just this is crazy. That's crazy.
I mean, and it gets very, 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 very foggy over here too. Like it be so thick fog that you can't even see through. Like one morning, my mother was outside smoking a cigarette. She said something really big leaped over her head and jumped inside the wood line.
Over her
And
head.
yes, on top of the
Wow.
roof. And she screamed because I was like, you're getting my kids ready for school. I'm like, what are you doing? She was like, girl, she was like, something jumped over my head. And it jumped down and ran in the wood line. And that was the last time she smoked cigarettes outside. And that was 3 years ago.
Wow. Wow.
She was like, if she smoked
Oh,
cigarettes, she said she would not go on that balcony.
right. Tell them the other thing about how this thing will climb up your tree and walk on your back porch.
Oh yeah, it did because I thought she was kidding. She said, it's prints on this back porch. I said it was during the daytime. And I said, they wasn't here before we left because my mother always checked everything before we leave. And we came back. It was on on the back of the patio. And the patio on the apartment, to me, the patio is pretty big for the apartment we live in because it's like a 6 by 10. And she's like, look at all these marks. Because when we get snow, we get like a lot of snow. And she's like, how can somebody walk in? What animal can walk that deep in the snow? Because if we come out and put our foot in snow, it goes past our knees on the balcony. And she started putting like little windows alarms, everything. I'm like, wherever that is, I said, wherever it is, it's not gonna stop a window alarm. They can bust right through the window if they want to.
Wow.
Because
Um.
it goes to our balcony, and then sometimes it goes to the guy under us balcony, and it goes to the lady across from him. But
Right.
they be stalking him a lot because one night, my son was in my room watching TV, and I was in the bedroom, and he was like, he called me, and he's like, "It's something out there moving. It's moving, it's moving." I'm like, he got scared, and I was like, "Shut the window." I'm not getting by the window. I'm like, okay. And then one day, my daughter was like in the bathroom. She said she heard a big giant roar outside the bathroom, inside the bathroom. And it was like about 10 or 11 o'clock at night. There's nobody be over here. There's nobody's dog that's outside at all.
Right.
And she was something's out there. And He was like, he was a bathroom and ran right back in the living room.
Right. Another thing, Marquetta, not because you don't just have experience with these cryptids and these creatures, but you've been having like paranormal stuff happen to you too. So
Oh yeah, since I was a girl.
can you talk about that?
Okay, when I used to live down the street, I met um my husband at the time. We moved into apartment building because that's when we was like, the apartments off the lake and stuff.
I
And
apologize. Go ahead.
the people upstairs from us were like, I think they were doing witchcraft or whatever. Because I kept hearing this chanting over and over again. It got really loud. And I was like, you hear that? And he was like, I don't hear none of this stuff. I'm like, are you serious? So my son, who was like 5 months old, we put him in his walker because he started, wanted to walk in his walker and stuff. He was like very alert and aware. And every time he'd go to the corner and like a certain time a day, he'd go to the corner and start like talking and holding his hands up. And I'm like, stop doing that. And then we get like really like the whole apartment goes straight cold, like winter cold for some reason. Feel like somebody opened up the windows in the wintertime when it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't. We have our heat on real high. We get cold spots through the whole apartment. And I would see like, shadows run past me or just weird noises.
Mm-hmm.
So one day, I was on the computer before I had my son, before he was born, and I was on the computer in the dining room table, and I asked my husband to come up. I was like, are we ready to leave so we'll get something to eat because it's getting later and later? He's like, give me a minute. So he's looking at TV. So you walk in my apartment. On the right hand side is the living room, and on the left hand side is the dining room. But the dining room goes through the kitchen out to the hallway. You know, so it's like like a walk around kitchen. You know, and then you can see the hallway between the kitchen, and then it's the bedroom, one bedroom apartment. It's at the right hand corner next to the living room, and then it's the bathroom straight down the hallway. And my apartment time is it's 800 square feet, and only light that we had was coming inside our apartment was the parking lot light, and I'm sitting here on the computer, and the lights are off in the apartment, and you can see the light on my bedroom. So I'm like, "Are you ready?" And he's like laughing, giggling because he's watching something on TV. And all of a sudden, I'm sitting there, and then I see him walk up to me out of the kitchen, and he's smiling. And I realize his eyes are like jet black. And I'm like, okay, you're looking weird right now. I'm thinking in my head, like, I'm like, why are you smiling like that? Why your eyes look like I'm thinking, saying that to him? And he's just smiling, and his smile looked like really crazy weird to me. And he said, "What you say?" And I was like, I looked and I heard him say, he said, "What you say again?" He's still in the bedroom. So he's not in front of me. He's still in the bedroom, but it's a doppelganger right in front of me. I was so scared. I fell backwards in my chair trying to turn the light switch on
Yeah.
because the people upstairs keep doing chanting. It's like throwing like stuff on the on the carpet because it's carpet up there. Only thing that is not carpet is the bathroom in the bedroom. And I kept hearing
Right.
like something thrown around, right? And they used to open and close their balcony a whole
Right.
bunch of times chanting. And then at nighttime when I went to sleep and I woke up and I thought I was like woke, but I saw myself laying there because my body will astral project for no reason. I don't practice this stuff. I don't like that stuff. It's just weird to me. And I'm
Right.
thinking that I'm woke, and I'm seeing myself laying there, and I'm like, oh my God. So I hear the chanting going on, and I'm walking around my apartment, and then all of a sudden look out the window, and I see all like these big, huge black wings outside my apartment because these people are chanting still at this point. The only way I could wake up was to call on the blood of Jesus. That's how I woke up. And I was like, well, we're moving from out of here because the lease is up really soon. We got to get from out this apartment because I can't do this anymore. I'm sick of the chanting. I'm sick of looking at the shadows. I'm sick of looking at stuff going across the room. And he said that one day he didn't believe me till it happened to him. He was laying on the bed, and he said that he saw his hat go up in the air and fall on the floor. After he said
Wow.
that was definitely ready to move, I would never sit in that apartment by myself.
Wow.
And then one day they just up and left. Like We never saw them again.
Right. Um, One thing, Marquette, I want to go back to this thing. If you can go back on the what color first, what do you think these Dugman creatures are? I mean, if you had this, in your own words, what do you think they are?
To me, I just think they just a, I just think they just a creature that's been out in this world for a very long time before we were ever thought of on period. That's just what I think. I think it's still some type of dog breed, but I still think it's a natural dog breed that is like that. And I also think that is also a hybrid that the government is taking and making DNA out of. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, I
like
agree.
I was listening to. I sent you this link one other day. It was called Coast to Coast, and this guy talking about he went to the Enter Earth. Okay, and it was all different types of other species. They seen other humanoids. He said that they take those things, take them, even if they want to come out of it, take them and they create more of them to put out in the world, something like that.
Right,
And I'm like, why would you do weird stuff like that? Like, it's like, the unknown creatures and stuff like that. I don't like that. Like, especially
right,
when it's in your back of your home or something like that.
right. And you absolutely right. I heard about the inner Earth. They said that it's all type, it's extinct creatures down there, woolly mammoths, and you got T Rexes and brontosaurus. You got all type of creatures that supposed to be living in this inner Earth.
He
And
said that he says lakes there.
yes, lakes.
He says that you can't even touch the lake. He said they seen videos of what not to do when you go there. He said one guy, they have a special suit on, not a real thick one, but it's a special suit, and they are like, people think that America is not, these government places are not ahead of technology. They said they are ahead of technology or where the place they go to. And they said that you cannot put your foot in the lake on the water and your foot would disintegrate it. And certain things you can't touch, certain plants you can't. You don't touch anything because you might get attacked from it.
Wow, wow, and you know what? I can believe that. I can believe that because you got to think the temperature change, the
Yep.
atmosphere change.
Yep.
Who knows? Gravity might change. We don't really know.
He said
But
they have
these,
then they have like this is what he said. He said we have these hybrid type of dogs that wear the suit that go and sniff out things. Now he didn't say what type of hybrid dog they said. So when you get a chance, check that link I sent you of hybrid dogs that they sent out there.
mm-hmm.
Um,
Okay,
I'm like, this is it's like strange to me.
yeah, yeah, and
But
go ahead.
my mother, by her living down south, she says a whole bunch of unknown creatures that she don't even know what they are. She's kind of hard for her to describe at the time, but she passed away a long time ago. And she said that's another thing that they were glad. She was glad that they left Georgia. They left Georgia because my grandfather got in trouble and the law was looking for him. But she said she was glad to leave out of Georgia, period, because of the unknown creatures on their property that they see. She
Right,
didn't like that. And my grandfather used to go hunting and stuff, and he said he only go certain parts of the woods to go get hunt for deer and stuff like that. But he said they used to see them things when they were growing up, when they were kids, and it would watch them, but it wouldn't do anything else. But if you go too close in their little ear, they will chase you out, not to harm them, but just to chase them out. Like they don't want them there.
right, right, right. And you know what? I can believe that. I can believe that. I could believe that. That's just like I used to listen to like the flat Earth theory and the round and all this. You know what I mean? And sometimes when you think about this round, because that's what we grew up off of, though. Sometimes it make you go into question, is this Earth really flat? You know, because now I'm starting to lean towards it that it could be flat.
Yeah,
We
I
don't
mean,
because we only got proof about what they show us, but they can manipulate any pictures.
yes, and it's like they go to the Antarctica to get things. They said that they do different specimens of different unknown creatures that make them hybrid and send them out. in Mexico, throughout the United States. And it's like, why would you do that thing? Because people coming up missing, through national parks and stuff. I don't know what happened to them.
Right. But in Mexico, they call these creatures by a number, like A3065. And they tell Border Patrol don't go into certain areas.
Yeah.
But they wind up going into certain area one day, and they said they was looking out the binoculars. He said, "Oh man, look at these big old dogs chasing these you know, refugees, Mexicans." And they until it stood up. Once it stood
Yeah.
up, that ain't no. And they went and told their superiors, and they wind up losing their job.
And it's another city not too far from over here, like 45 minutes away. This guy said that Dogman approach was like coming towards him at the park. He said because for one he said was like on all fours. He said, man, he said it looked kind of big. He said he didn't know it was a bear, but he was like 4 or 5 feet tall. And then it stood up and started walking towards him. And they left the park, never came back to the park. They ran to the vehicle and sped off. He said he didn't care if he was gonna get a ticket. But
Wow.
I have read stuff and heard things that it Dogman is walking through the area. They don't give a care if it's a city, but certain areas they like to be at a lot, especially up north. They are really popular up north because
Oh yeah,
I've
no
seen them
question.
people talking about Dogman is on their property, looking them through the wood line. Like on my camera, was it like last month? I think we saw 4 big eyes shine inside the woods. And my mother, I showed my mom. She said, "Oh, those are people's houses." But I said, "No." I said, "I know the people's houses lights where they at." I said, "This is up close to our apartment, and it's down further." I said, "Their lights is on. You can see where the whole lights is light up in the back of their house, like their windows are open." I said, This is not their lights in the apartment." And then she had to think about it. So she goes outside and looks. She said, "You know what? You're right." She said, "Those are not the people's apartment." And even over the other side of the apartment, like on the left side of us, you see eyes shine in the wood. And it's not nobody's house. Because first of all, nobody's house is not way up in the sky in the tree. So I'm like, this is just weird. I won't sit out there when they after it start getting dark back there. I come straight in.
Right. I'm trying to think. Didn't you tell me your neighbor had told y'all when y'all came home with something that she had saw a tall man out there by the tree line, real tall or something one time?
No.
Oh,
Only one who the neighbor told the cop that it was a big tall person, like 8 or 9 feet tall, looking at her window. And she called the police. And then the police went inside the tree line to go see where they went to because the cop asked me, "Did I see that person?" I'm like, nobody is that tall walking out here in a parking lot.
okay. Yeah, 9 feet. That's tall.
I'm like, what am I? I'm thinking in my head, like, who did she see? Bigfoot?
Right.
Shoot, after that happened, I tell you this. She had somebody move in with her after that. Because it was just her and her dog. But it's always some strange stuff going on over here. Especially when the animals is missing and stuff. And a lot of houses are empty over here too. So
Yeah, you said a lot of animals.
yeah, like when I used to work across the street from where I lived at, my coworker says, he says, "Marquetta, this is the last night I'm going to work with you." I said, "Why? What happened?" He said, "Let me tell you something." He said, "Over there is apartments across the street." I said, "Yeah, I live over there." He said, "Yeah." He said, "I was walking past it, but on the other side of your block, it's a big, acres of land in the tree line." He says, "I was walking, and all of a sudden," he said, "these 5 deer jumped out of the woods, running, screaming. I said, I never heard no deer scream over my life. He said, these deers are screaming. I said, you should have said, I don't know what I heard. He said that they ran. He was like, then all of a sudden he said that, he heard some really big moving trees. Like, all the trees by him. He ran. He said he ran so fast he had to, walk home. It was like, he said it was like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. He said he ran so fast. He said he pissed himself. He didn't even know until he got home. He said he did not run until he saw lights because it's another city, like maybe like a mile, not even a mile over, like a half a mile over. And he said, I didn't stop running until I saw all those lights. And then he was for real. He did not come back the next day to work nighttime ever again. Because he was
Wow.
like, I don't know what y'all got in those woods. He said, first of all, he said, why are y'all trees moving? There's no wind blowing. I've never said anything to him. But he was scared. He cried. He cried. He thought he was going to have a heart attack. I'm like, you scared and you peed yourself. Yeah, you was really scared.
Wow. That's crazy. That's
But
crazy.
he said, never again. I'm like, wow, you cried and peed yourself? I was really surprised at that. Because
Wow.
because I live on a busy road, right? But behind the busy road is real quiet. It's like trees and stuff and houses. But I used to work till like 3 o'clock in the morning, and this one girl, she was like 18 or 19 years old, and she said she was ready to walk home. I'm like, I'm not gonna let you walk home. Even though our neighborhood is quiet, but I'm like, do you know what's in these tree lines? She's oh no, I didn't even say anything after that. And I said, I'll just give you a ride home because she lived around a block from me. But I said, I'm not going to let you walk. It's jet black out there. You need high beams on you to even get to the street. I'm responsible for her, she's coming up missing or whatever because, wherever's out there.
Right. But
And the
another
cops
thing.
don't even out here at nighttime no more either.
Who? Cops.
The
Yeah, you
cops.
say they stay up the road.
Yeah, they used to be like where the tree line was at. They used to park in the tree line where it happened at. They don't even park in that tree line no more. They don't even park in the parking lots at nighttime or they do not. They only come out unless it's somebody having a crime.
Right.
I haven't seen a cop 3 o'clock in the morning in this area ever
Yes.
driving.
One thing I wanted to ask y'all: have anybody in your family or you know anybody, have anybody ever seen Goatman up there or the rake?
I don't know. I mean, like I said, my grandmother said she had seen a lot of different unknown creatures that she said they looked ungodly, but she could
Right.
never really describe it. She said
Right.
she was scared.
Right. Right. Because I know if Bigfoot in every state, you know what I mean. I believe Doug Man is too. Why not these other cryptids?
Yeah,
I believe they travel and migrate too. So I could
they
believe that they in other states too.
like my grandfather's property because it's like I think it's like almost 200 acres of land. No one stays on that property. Nobody stays on that property.
Wow.
And I'm like, y'all have all that land, and because he has relatives that live down south, because where he lived at, it's a population of 500 something people to this day. No one wants to. They don't care if it's a 20,000 population. They are not moving on that wood line.
Right.
So it's just sitting there.
Right.
My cousin been there. She said that been there one night. She said that she was scared. But she said that it felt like somebody was watching her, and she said you can't even see with your high beams on.
Right. Wow. That's just crazy. So every time it snow up there, do y'all get those footprints back there?
Yes, we do. Every time it snows.
I know because y'all got some three-toed tracks in there too, and they
Yeah.
they was big. You know, they was
Because if
big.
you see the video I sent you, and I was standing by the footprint, and it was bigger than my foot, and my
Yeah,
knee was inside the snow. My mother was like, "Who?" It was like, "Now what animal?" Because she was like, "I know other animals. She's the only person who can walk back here like there's some deers and stuff because the snow was really deep.
right.
That snow was very, very deep because I fell in the snow trying to walk in it. I don't understand how they managed to. Maybe because they're so tall, whatever. I don't
Mm-hmm.
understand how they managed to even. I just don't get it.
What?
How they managed to even walk in the snow because that snow is heavy. It's real heavy.
Yeah, it is. It definitely
But they
is.
those things love the trees for some reason. I don't know why, but they do.
Yeah, they do. That's why they. That's why you should always look up, even when you walk into these state parks or these little state parks or wooded areas. You always supposed to look up because they like going up in trees. They will jump from tree to tree. You know,
Yeah,
so don't think they always on the ground. You know, they be up too. You know,
because
because that's a special. I mean, that's a good spot for them to survey the area too. Because
and these
everybody
trees
don't
are
look up.
old. These trees are old and they big and they thick. Like my daughter is a hiking. It's a nature center. It's like 2 miles. Not even. It's a mile, almost a mile away from us. Right. She likes going to the nature center, and I'm like, I don't like walking on this. Even though other people walking is not enough for me because it's 40 acres of land, and you got one part of like a little swampy, and one part is like a little lake or whatever. I don't like walking in it because the woods is too thick. I don't like
Right.
walking in.
I don't blame you. Remember them trees you say y'all got up there where you can't even see no sunlight come down? They
Yeah,
so thick.
that's right over here, across the street over here where I'm at. You can't see no sun to come through it, and there's a
Wow.
lot of trees like that. Because sometimes you drive down the road, you be like, dang, it's dark on the street. It just be the trees be so thick. And then you go up another block, it's like completely just bright.
Right. You absolutely right.
And then it's like now, maybe like 2 blocks away, it's a lake over here. And then when it gets foggy, it's really bad.
Hmm.
It's very creepy over here.
I can imagine.
It's creepy
I can
because
imagine.
I was coming home and I took a U-turn around because I couldn't drive down the block because I could start feeling like very fear, like something was watching me in the wood line of the and there's another city behind us called Franklin Village. It looks like a village, okay?
Hmm.
It's big houses on it, but it's just straight wood. It's a big, deep, deep hollow that goes real deep, and it got a little river to go, in it. And I turned around, and I was like, oh no! I can't even see down the street. And it's daytime. So yeah, and this house is down the block, but it's creepy.
Yeah, you know, it really is. It really is. You know, we was asking a question yesterday is, what if you driving down one of these dark roads? I mean, pitch black. I mean, it's dark. And you catch a flat. Your phone don't work. You don't got no, it just it died on you. You don't have no weapon in the car. And you just sitting there. And all of a sudden you see three Dougmans come out of the tree line.
Oh, I'm gonna
Well,
die.
I mean, what will you do? What can you do? What are you gonna do?
Only thing I can do is try try drive with a flat tire and do about 100 out of here. That's the next best thing. Other than that, you can't do anything. I might as well just go ahead and die, repent of my sins, and meet my maker. Because I don't ever want to come across some things. Okay, I don't even like that. That you don't even feel like even during the daytime on the balcony because when the trees bloom, it get real thick. You can't even see the houses back behind it. But it's still creepy to me because it's like something's always watching in the trees.
Right.
Because I told my mother one day, I said, look, one day, the branch fell. Okay, for what reason I don't know why. First of all, the tree is old, right? But they just don't fall off like that during the summertime. It completely fell on top of the balcony. a big tree. The big part of like one of the part of the tree, they had to come move it off my balcony. And I'm like, now what did that? I was thinking in my head. But I know what it did, but I didn't want to think it. And I'm like, see, it don't feel. I mean, it's pretty when it blooms back there, but it's still creepy at the same time because I have stepped back there and I heard something like it was like trying to jump on top of the balcony, and I was like, maybe it could be a squirrel. And I said, wait a minute, the squirrel's not even here. It's like 10 o'clock at night. And then I hear things move inside the bushes. The whole entire bush is moving. The trees is moving with the bushes. I was like, oh no, it's time for me to go in.
Wow, and that's creepy. But you know what? I always say that though. I always would want to put myself in a predicament like, what if? What if you did catch a flat? And what if you didn't have a spare tire? Throw all this in the equation. What if you didn't have a spare and you just sitting there, phone dead? That means you got to sit there. You can either start walking or you could stay in your car and hope that a vehicle will come past soon.
That's a messed up situation to be in. A very messed up situation to be in.
It is. It is. And then three Dougmen come out the tree line and they come over there and they start flicking on your door. And what if you forgot to lock one of the doors?
Oh, it's all over with. They could, because they could actually just bust these
If
things
they
are.
wanted to, they could.
Yeah, they could rip the door off. Like, at nighttime, I don't know if these things be ramming against the building. This is because if like somebody be ramming against the building really hard at nighttime, third night, I'm like, why? What is that? So one day, we heard someone was like, bam, against the building. It was a couple of weeks ago. One of those like, what y'all doing in the living room? I'm like, nobody's up. What are you talking about? She's like, I heard a big bam against the building. Like, it felt like the building shook on the side where we're at.
Right.
I'm like, I don't know. I ain't trying to find out. I turned all my lights off.
Yeah.
You get stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then recently, two neighbors just left the apartment. They just moved out the apartment. Two neighbors did.
And you know
One
what?
moved out.
Yeah, go ahead.
They live in the back of the apartment like we do, right? One moved out, and the other one completely just left their furniture and never came back and got their furniture.
And you know what though? I used to like I said though, I never knew nothing about these cryptids and all this until my mother told us what happened to her when she was a little girl. How every day she would come home from school and she said these big black dogs used to follow her. She would stop and they would stop behind her. I mean, she would look back and look at them, never tried to attack or nothing. But she said every time she would get up to her door and she would turn around, they was staying up.
Yeah, I believe
It's
that.
like it's like they was escorting her or making sure she got home safe. They
I do
did
think
this
they
every day.
I do think they stalk people. That's just my opinion. I think they stalk people. Like when my ex used to live here, they used to seem like they wanted to tear through the roof for some reason when he was in here. But when he would leave, the noise would completely stop. Like it used to be like we still get the activity, but not as rough as we used to. But when he was here, it would be so bad. Like I actually think it was stalking him. I don't care what he says, but he never knew what it was. I never told him what it was.
Right.
But
You right.
my grandmother was like, "Don't." She said some things scared her too. Like she said, they're really big. Like she said, it looked like they had been like 8 to 10 feet tall. That was the last time she went back to the wood lines playing. Her mother told her that she was like, "Y'all quit playing in them wood lines, but them things go back there and get you." She was like, "We're fine. There's nothing gonna happen until they happen to her. They stop playing in the wood lines."
Yeah, it's crazy. You know what I mean? It is. It's real crazy. That's why I always tell people. I always tell people. I be like if you even be like, I tell people you don't have to believe me. You don't have to believe in these creatures. You don't have to believe in nothing you don't want to believe in. But you know what? Do me a favor. Do your own research.
Yeah.
Do your own research and find out what you come up with.
You know, this guy was I was watching one of his channels on YouTube, and this guy was sitting in his car, talking on the phone. He was recording, and also he's like, "Wait a minute!" He was coming towards my vehicle. It looked like Goatman was running towards his vehicle. It jumped on top of the roof of his car. It
I
was
seen
shaking
it.
it.
I seen it. I seen it. And you know what? It hopped it a little bit like a kangaroo.
Yes, and
Like a kangaroo would hop.
it was quick because a human person can't run that fast.
No, it moved quick.
Like it did like a leap. Then this one guy they showed I think he lived in somewhere in Texas, and he had like a one of those trail cameras up. It showed it. It was hunched down, and it walked past his camera. It must have noticed his camera was there, but it looked creepy because he said he kept wondering why his horses and chickens kept going crazy at nighttime. And they
Right.
showed a video of a man somewhere camping in Texas, and this one came leaping down from the hill coming towards him.
Right.
And there's another lady that they show. It was her dog was inside. I guess it was like part of the yard or whatever.
Right.
And they saw one sitting there, just sitting there chilling. And somewhere in Minnesota. And I told my aunt the name of where Minnesota. She said, "We're in Minnesota," because I told her about them. She said, "That's like 15 minutes from where I live at." Because where she live at is like almost like a rural area. And she like to go outside and take her trash out at night. So I said, "You better quit going outside taking that trash out for something to come out there and get you." But them things look huge. And then you see the one with the guys who were on a boat, and they were going past, and one stood up, it was like coming towards them. On the video, they got out of there quick because they were screaming.
Right.
I would have screamed too. I would have put that boat on 100 to get from where that thing was at, because it was leaping it jumped in the water.
Wow. You know what? I had a video one time. I don't know where this came out, what state or nothing like that, but these guys was out fishing on a boat, little small boat, and they seen something swimming in the water, but it wasn't swimming like regular of any kind of animal. This motherfucker was swimming like basically was swimming like us, and this thing stepped out the water and it on all fours, and then it stood up and it ran so fast. Never seen nothing take off like that fast in my life.
I would have fainted. They wouldn't have to worry about me putting up a show. I would have fainted. I probably would have died of fright.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
You know what really bothers me is that my grandparents was like, my grandfather, because he's still alive. I think he's almost 100. I mean, he was like, it's a norm for us in the South. But he would say, y'all city folks will go crazy if you saw what's really animals besides those big old dog things. He can't describe them. I'm gonna try to get more stories out of him with them creatures and stuff. But he says, like he said, in the South they walk like you just can't go in their area. You don't like people in their area like that. Any type of animal don't like you in their area. I don't want to go by nobody's area anyway, because I like animals to a certain extent. For some reason, animals love to come up towards me. Like one year, me and my kids were little, we went to the zoo, and they had a kangaroo display, right? And I thought the kangaroo was gonna be caged up. The kangaroo was walking around like regular people, and two kangaroos came up walking near me, trying to touch me. I completely flipped out and ran out of the kangaroo display.
Wow.
And then, in the zoo, you got the little birds that, feathers come out. Those things was walking towards me. I'm like, oh my God, I've got to get out of this zoo. Like for some reason, it's like animals are always like to graduate towards me, especially squirrels. They like to run up towards me and stuff. I'm like, oh my god! Like I have got to I have got to go back in. Like even with dogs and stuff, right? Like some people I
Right.
know who got like dogs that don't like people. For some reason, when I come around them, they like me. They like to be under me. I don't like that. Like I don't know what their intentions gonna be. You know, I done had bats landed on my shoulder twice before. Didn't bite me. They just landed on my shoulder. I'm like, oh no. That's another reason why I don't like to go on them little walking trails because of the little animals that walking around and stuff. Like we went and my daughter said, oh, let's look at the deers and stuff. And so I'm like, okay, the deer's gonna stay on that side of the cave. It comes to walk towards me. I'm like, oh, come on. Then we go to the farm. She like to go see, she loves animals. And what you call that animal? I don't like goats for some reason. They just look too human to me. They come up and walk towards me, trying to lick me. I'm like, I'm about to leave this farm. You got me messed up. Think I'm about to sit here with these animals walking towards me.
Right. Um, One thing though, now Marquette, I'm gonna see if anybody have any questions about what you talked about tonight. Okay. All right, pack members, do y'all have any questions that Marquetta talked about tonight that y'all would like to ask her? If anything, just send it in the chat. If y'all got any questions. Yeah, but like I said, I think these cryptids all over. I don't think they just just in certain states. I think all of them in each state. It's just
I think
different
it's
people
across states
seeing
as
them.
well. Because I've heard stories of dogmen in other parts of the country, Africa, Saudi Arabia, Russia, China.
Okay,
Like,
yeah, we got one question. They want to know. Dee from Texas would like to know. What's the tallest Doug man in your opinion, or how
in my,
big you think? Yeah,
I think I'm gonna lie. I think they gotta be at least go up to at least 12 or 13 feet tall.
good
Did you
one.
see the video of the guy that who was on Facebook Live? And he took a video of it, and one ran across. He was on Facebook Live. He didn't know what was going to happen because he was telling these creatures kept on bothering him, in his yard. And one ran across his yard, and the light pole, he said, is about 13 to 15 feet tall. It was tall as a light pole.
Wow.
It's on video, and he ran back in and shut the door.
Wow. Uh. Okay. The Doug man that y'all seen on the side of the road, that big, laying down. What color was it?
It was like a dark. It was like dark, but it had like different like gray patches through it or something like that.
All right. So it was like a what? Like you would say, like gray and black.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay, I got you. And let me ask you this: do you think these creatures are flesh and blood? Do you think they? I know you answered some of it. Do you think they Nephilim?
I think
Because
a
they
little bit
do
of both.
bleed. I mean, they eat, they sleep, they shit, and they fornicate. So I think they flesh and blood. I
Yeah,
don't
they
I
are.
don't think they
But
supernatural. When the supernatural part come in, I think it's just because they use a bigger. I think they use a more of their brain capacity than us. Way more.
I'm
That's
pretty
why they
smart.
could do some of the things that they do. Like they say they can camouflage or they disappear and all that. That's what I think. I think they just use a larger part of their brain. That's why they can do certain stuff. If we could use a larger part of our brain, we could probably stand somewhere and disappear.
I believe both because I still believe that they flesh and blood, but I also believe that the government also take them, experiment on them to make them more bigger. You see what I'm saying? Like, cause
Right.
like I've been reading about these things since my grandmother told me about these things. Okay, I've been very interested in why they're here, and you know, one lady said she was driving. I think she lived somewhere in Maine. She was going towards the city or something like that. And she said it was a pack of them chasing her vehicle. And she said that when she got the vehicle to get somewhere with a lot of area populated, she said it was a big scratch on the side of her back of her, rear end, but on the side of her vehicle. And she said they was running really fast. She was doing about 50. And she just had to, put her foot down fast as she could get her vehicle to go to get from out of the area where she was at.
Another thing. Another guest would like to know. Pack member would like to know. What did your grandmother tell you about them? Did she tell you anything about them, far as what she seen and what type of creatures she seen? I know she didn't describe what they looked like, but what did she tell you about them? I mean, you growing up about.
Well, she told me to stay away from them.
I could dig that one.
Because she's like, she said it was just turned like a big old giant creature, wherever you want to call it. But she said she was not trying to stand there to find out what it looked like. I mean, she said she knew what it looked like, but she just was not trying to be there to get any closer to it. Because it chased her and her brother out of the woods.
Right. Let me see if any more questions. More questions in the chat. Let me see. Anybody else? Yo, hey, you got some questions? Send them so I can. They said the Doug man that you seen. Did you ever see one? Basically, I know the one y'all seen on the side of the road. You said that was about 7 feet.
Mm-hmm. That's the only
Okay,
one I think
and
that
Tony.
was.
Okay, go ahead.
But I always try to see if I could catch them in the back because because you hear movement back there and stuff, but they so quick. It's like okay, I just
Okay,
close my window at nighttime.
right.
I don't want to see up close than what I had to the last time because
Right,
I'm just gonna have a heart attack at
right.
that point.
Antonio want to know. Do you still see them? Do you still see them? And have you had any psychic contact with them?
Mm, None as I know of. No, I don't
Okay.
think so.
Okay, wait a minute. Let me see. Any more questions? Okay. What sounds do you hear them making? Or what sounds have you heard them making, if you could say that you heard any, if any sounds?
I
Like
don't
in the
talk to
back.
in the back.
Yeah. Have you heard any weird sounds coming out from out back?
Oh, I heard some weird sounds, but I don't know was it that. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's just see how it
Because
sounds.
they can mimic. They can mimic.
Oh, they can.
They can mimic owl. Yeah, they mimic other creatures. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that because I didn't hear a whole bunch of different sounds back then. I'm like, I've never heard animals sound like that in the back of my apartment. On one night, you said that they can mimic owls. I hope it wasn't because one night it was like, ooh, ooh, making that noise like over and over again. It was
Right.
by my window.
But if you notice something, if you know how owls sound, and then
Yeah.
you hear them, then you know you're something off. You be like, hold up, that sound like an owl, but that's not an owl.
Yeah, because it was a little bit too close to my window. Like, it's a tree in front of my balcony, right? But it seemed like that the sound kept getting closer and closer. You know what I mean? I'm like, this is just weird. I just closed my window because it's annoying. And then I kept hearing like this,
Okay.
like a blurt, like a, I don't know what type of sound it was, but it was very creepy.
Right. Have you another question? Have you ever heard them make like a hyena chatter sound? You know how hyena would like that little laugh? Have you ever heard that
Yeah,
anytime? Huh?
I heard that.
Or
I
you
just thought it was those coyotes. It was coyotes in the area. That's what I just thought.
okay, so you heard it. Okay, okay, yeah. Okay. She said yes, she heard it before. That before.
I
Let me
really thought it
see.
was the coyotes because you know what? If on the ring system, because everybody got rings on their thing, everybody been claiming they've been hearing coyotes really bad through the area, but they never seen any coyotes. That's the thing. Like, okay, you hear coyotes, but where are they? Because they usually everybody in the whole neighborhood all has ring on their door. through their whole yard, front of their yard, on the trees and stuff. But you never see a coyote, you just hear the sound,
Right.
they said.
Okay. That's real. That's real creepy. Now, if I could, if I could ask, right, if you could say how many, how many do you think are in the area that you in? Do you think it's like a pack?
I think it's a pack. I definitely think it's a pack.
Okay, because that's crazy though. But y'all don't have no deer around there like y'all used to. That's
Yeah,
man, that's creepy.
deers have not been over here in a very long time. Okay, it's going on 4 or 5 years now since we had seen a deer. You see deers like maybe once or 5 times out of a year, and that's it. And once you see them, you don't see them anymore.
Let me ask you this, Marquetta. Another question coming from a member. Have you ever heard? Have you or anybody else ever heard any tapping sounds? That like on the window, on the
Yeah,
window, on the huh?
all the time.
She said yes all the
I
time, and
I hear
they
them
special for
on
that.
on his window all the time.
They love tapping on windows. Why? I
Yeah,
don't know.
because my mother said she said who keep because they tapped on her window before too. So it just that stalling her. But she's like, who keep tapping on the window? And I'm like, why would somebody want to tap on a window? That's stupid.
Was it day or night?
Both.
She said both. They did it in the daytime and the nighttime. That's now
That's what I think.
that's crazy.
That's what I think the guy downstairs keep on. He turned his porch light on.
And
Something it's
and
always gonna turn on his window, and then don't let it get real muddy. You see the prints in too. With like after if it rains a lot, you see the prints.
okay,
When it snows, you see the prints. But they
what
love stalking this man all the time.
wow, and that's crazy. And another thing, have you ever seen them or anybody ever seen them looking in the window? Because they love doing that too.
Like I said, the elderly lady who used to live over there. When I said that, she said she's like 8 or 9 feet tall.
Mm-hmm.
From the window. That's the only person that I can think of that said that
It was
something was looking at the window and the cops couldn't
oh
find
you
anybody.
did say it was looking in the window. You right. Yes, yes, she said yes. The elderly lady.
But she was scared. And after that happened, like I said, somebody moved in with her. But she was always, it was either her nurse stayed in her with her, after the nurse leave during the daytime, because she did it at nighttime, and then one of her relatives stayed with her until the nurse comes.
Okay, do you have don't you say you got did you ever put the cameras up?
Yeah. Now let me tell you this, right? One night it rained, 3 days straight, rain nonstop. Our rain kept going off on the front, and it kept going off on the side. But the rain was so dang on bad, you couldn't see anything. Only thing you saw was a big shadow. That's the only thing I saw was a shadow.
Okay, wow, that's crazy. Now the lady that seen the one in the window, did she say what it looked like? No, she said it was 9 feet tall. Did she say it looked at humanoid or did it look like a canine or she just said it was just a tall person?
Yeah, somebody 9 to 8 feet, 9 feet tall was looking at her window and it scared her because all she saw was eyes. That's what the
Okay,
cops said.
all she saw. Okay, okay, got you. Now somebody just put in here. Southern guy said a lady in Florida caught something on her camera that looked like a dinosaur in Florida.
I'll believe it. Wait a minute.
A
Where did he see that?
dinosaur.
Did he see it on? Did he read that or did he see it on YouTube?
I don't know. He said a lady. Southern guy. Can you did was this on YouTube? Did she catch it on a trail cam? Wait a minute. Southern Guy, what was that on? Was it on camera? I done did a lot of encounters about these creatures in graveyards.
Because you know what? It's this YouTube couple that we watch, and they live somewhere in Florida, in a small county, and they have this acres of 75 acres of land, and they're like making a joke of going through the area, walking through there. They see like you see these little sticks that look like kind of like little teepee sticks through their yard, through their little acres of land, and
Yeah.
then they saw like a man-made hole dug inside their the ground. And then they found this big giant tooth. And it wasn't a dinosaur tooth because they got it checked. They just said, well, we don't know what this tooth is. It's kind of unknown. But it was big. It's like the size of your freaking palm of your hand. That's how
Wow.
wide it was.
Wow.
And it was like
Wow.
about 3 to 4 inches long. And I had
Wow.
typed to them, I said, look here, I was like, y'all got some unknown creatures in your area. You might not want to, explore your area too much because they stay inside of a trailer of the on their property. They don't stay inside the house part. And the girlfriend said she heard howls and growls in the area at nighttime. And then they caught some big hairy thing ran across their camera trail.
Mm-hmm.
And they go back there exploring, messing up the little area that wherever they fixed back there. Because I don't know if it's Dogman or Bigfoot on their property. But if you see how big them teeth are, and it looked like it had cavities too.
Wow.
So they found a bunch of those teeth broke off in the ground and even in the water. Guys, there
Wow.
wasn't dinosaur teeth.
It could have been. I mean, it could have been. When you said in the water too. I wonder if it was I don't know. Was it a land in marine, some kind of land and marine mammal that could either come on land and still live in the water?
Probably so. I'm not even for sure. Like when on the video, if you listen very clearly, the girlfriend on the video, she heard something like a
Okay.
weird sound
The,
and like trees was like breaking, and she ran. She left her boyfriend inside the woods and drove off and left him.
now, the guy said the lady said she caught it. He said the lady caught it on her outside camera. Hey, Southern Guy, can you post that on the page in the group so everybody can see it? If you don't mind. He said she caught it on the outside camera.
Mm. So that's very scary.
Yeah, it really is because you looking now. I got an eyewitness in Mississippi, and he said he was riding down on this road one night, and he just so happened to see. He said he seen something on his left side running through the tree line. He said he can clear see it's clear day. Now he said that this thing it was gonna intercept his truck because of the way he was riding. He could see the direction that it was going. He said that this thing stopped on a motherfucking dime. It stopped
Wow.
on a dime. On a dime. On a dime. He said this thing stopped on a dime. That's what he said. It stopped on a dime. You know, it stopped on a dime. Sorry about y'all. Sorry about that.
You know, it's just got the people that sent you that video. Because I asked him, I was like, do they ever leave you alone? He said, look here. He said, if you don't hear from them and they're not on your property, he said they're in the area and they
Okay.
look from afar.
Now,
And I was like, what? He said, yes, they do. He was like, because every day, this thing would be always in their backyard on
okay.
top of their home and everything.
Now somebody want to know: do you live in the city or the country?
And I live in a suburban area.
She says she live in a suburban area. Suburban area. Oh, now remember I was telling you this thing stopped on a dime?
Yeah.
He said that he got a good look at it. He said, but the head was way over top of the roof. That's how big this thing was. He said, but
That
the
is.
leg, he said, don't you know how a drumstick look?
Yeah.
He said the leg looked just like the drumstick. Now, and if you
Oh,
know, those T-Rex legs look just like that.
yeah, it
He
does.
said he said that's what he saw that night. He saw about a 9 feet tall T-Rex.
Wow.
He said that's what he saw that night. He said it wasn't a Doug man, it wasn't no Bigfoot. He said that was a T-Rex.
I believe it. Cause did you see in China that they had the eggs of T Rex. Did you see that?
On what?
It was somewhere in China. Somebody, I think I seen it on like TikTok. I'm like, this gotta be fake. And then I start seeing it on Facebook. I'm like, okay, I don't know if it's real or not, but for some reason I believe it. It looks like it's real though.
That's crazy.
Like I'm trying to see what you call those things? Dang, I forgot what I was about to say. Oh, this guy I was listening to, he says that before they moved over there on the property, he said that they somebody had a dog, and the dog would always go out and mess with the dog man, play with it. But it came back pregnant, and it had the pups of dog man pups. And the father said that, well, we're not about to keep this thing. He went, you know what he done with it later. I'm not going to say it though, but that's what he done with it when he found out that the
Right.
thing was pregnant by dog man.
Go to your messenger, Nuke. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I got another. All right. Tell us about the time when your grandmother said that they was chased out of the woods. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Only
I
thing she
mean, can
said,
you give us some more details on that, please?
because her and her brother, they were, like children, not too small. They were like almost teenagers, and they used to always play in the woods and stuff. Play there and back a lot. And her mother's like, y'all better quit going back in, the woods for them things get y'all. And she was like, we're gonna be fine. Nothing's gonna get us back there. And she said, went back there and playing, and they heard like some noise, like branches and whatever was moving back there. And she said it was a big giant wolf, or where you want to call dog man, came out and started chasing them out of the woods. But it wasn't
You
where
said a
she said
big
that.
giant wolf?
Yeah, she's like a big wolf dog. She said it was big. Okay, she said it was not no regular size dog. She was like it was, well over 8 to 9 feet tall. But she was saying that it wasn't there to like harm them. That's the weird part. Like it just wanted them to get out of their area of the woods. You know what I'm saying? Like it just chased them out of there, not to attack them. Because she said she's quite sure that if it wanted to kill them, they would have been dead. You know. And after the last time they went back in the woods, he's like, well, shoot, we're not about to run back there and play if they don't want us back there, even though it's their property.
Wow. That's
Because she said, like, the unknown creatures on on their property when they were growing up, it's not where they wanted to harm you. It's like more like they were kind of curious, like. But if you got too close by the area, they would, certain things would chase you out of the woods. And then what's crazy is besides that, because she been chased out of the woods twice. Next time she said she was chased out of the woods by this big snake. Okay, she
oh
said
yeah.
this,
Tell us how big this snake was. Listen to this, y'all.
and she said this snake was big. Okay, I'm like, okay. I said, how big? I was like, what, 6 feet long? She said no. She said it was like 13 feet long. But she said it had a big wide head. I'm like, oh, are you sure? She said, look, I'm not crazy. I know what I saw. Don't make it like I'm some crazy old lady, child at the time. But she said it chased them out of the woods on its tail. And After that, she was like, yeah, she's really done with the woods.
Wow.
And she said it was big and wide. And I'm like, because back then when I was a kid, I wasn't thinking of an anaconda at the time. I wasn't thinking that. She said it was 13 feet long, but it was big with a big head, wider than her head. But she just said that at the time, I didn't think about anacondas at the time. I'm young. I just like, what snake is that big out in the woods? She was like, trust me. She said, you go back in the woods, you find stuff that you do not want to see ever again. She
Wow.
said she's like, it's just, it's scary. Those
Wow.
that struck me was the big dog man and the big snake. But other than that, the other unknown creatures, she can't really describe them too much. She said they more like was kind of like human, but not human like. But she never couldn't give me a really good description on what she saw of the other one.
Right.
And no one back then would never go outside at night. Like once the sun goes down, everybody be in. They don't turn their lights on, none of that stuff.
Oh, let me ask you this again, Marquetta, because somebody else just asked this again. Your grandmother said that it was on his tail. What do you mean by it was on his tail? Do you think this thing was on feet and they thought it was
No,
a tail?
no, that's what I asked her too. She said it was on the tip of his tail. You know how the end of the tail of the snake? That's what it was on.
Wow.
Now, anytime you talk to people in the South, with them older people who still alive, they tell you there is some ungodly creatures back here that you should not be back there messing with. She said, better not be spirits in the woods. That's what she said, different spirits in the woods. But she said the whole other thing when you see unknown creatures that's coming towards you. Coming towards you or even just watching you. They don't even have to come towards you, just watching inside the wood
So
line.
so basically she don't know what kind of snake this was that raised up. She
Mm-mm.
just know it was a big snake.
Yes.
Wow.
And what was crazy? I asked her brother about it. He was like, "Yeah, it was big and it was wide." He even remember that. And she said it was definitely on his tail, chasing us.
It was on their tail. Basically, it was raised up, going side to side.
Yes, on his tail, chasing them.
Wow. That's incredible. That's amazing.
I find it quite terrifying.
Do they know what color it was?
No, she said she was too busy trying to get out of the wood.
Yeah, okay, I got it. I
She
got
said
you. I got you.
I asked her what color. She said I'm supposed to try. She said, "Look, she said I just know it was a snake, and we ran after he started chasing us."
I got you. I got you. And it's crazy though, but you know what? I have heard like them howls, and when we went on this investigation and we was camping out, I'm gonna say about 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, we heard this howl come from down in this valley where we was at. I mean, it was loud. It was loud. And that's when I heard something, walking around near my tent later on, probably about a hour later, walking around outside my tent. But I didn't get up. I didn't look out to see what it was, and I wasn't.
I would have played dead. I would have played definitely dead because that's scary. When I was I used to go to Ohio back and forth, and my uncle used to live in the country part of Ohio before he started building, because his house was the only house on the road. And one night we was outside on the porch in the summertime, and all of a sudden the woods got completely quiet, like somebody muted your hearing or something.
Yeah.
And he was like, because he used to be in the army though, because he used to do training in different little woody areas when he was out of the state and stuff. He was like, "Oh hell no, it's time to go in, me." So I remember, look, he was like, "Get your butt in here," because he was like, "Whatever's out there," he said, "First of all, woods, when this," he was like, "It's time to go when your woods go completely silent." silent. You don't hear nothing. He locked the doors, closed all the windows. It was hot. He
Right.
was like, you want to turn the fan on, but we not open the windows up to get no breeze.
Right. That's crazy though. I heard of black races though. Them snakes that chase you. I heard about them. Cause they had them in North Carolina somewhere. I
Mm.
heard about them.
My family then came up on some creepy things that happened to them. Like, my uncle, he used to live, I think he was trying to see, he was coming from California, but he was driving through the desert. And he said one day he saw this car pulled over and the lights was blinking on, the emergency lights blinking on. So he's like a good Samaritan. He helped anybody out when he was alive at the time. He said he came up to the vehicle and he was like, it was a body inside the front seat, but the head was decapitated. And he was like, in the desert, there's no lights, no nothing. And he hears the walking, but he don't know what it was. He said he ran back to his vehicle so fast, did about 100 getting out of the ditch.
Right. That's crazy.
My uncle, he will always run into the most weirdest people, though. Like, his ex-girlfriend was some type of voodoo lady, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my aunt, moved from Ohio to go to, Wyoming, live with him. And she said the house was kind of weird set up. Like, you couldn't see through the whole house. It was like you had to turn a corner to see each room or whatever. And she said one day she went to the store to go get something, and also she came out because she was confused which way to go back to his house. And she said this lady walked up to her. She said, "Oh," she was like, I know you." She said, "You do?" She said, "You're Ray's sister. He talks about you all the time." She said, "Oh, really?" And she said, "Well, I can show you where his girlfriend lived at. I can take you back to the house." She said, "Okay." So she's sitting there talking to her, and the people like where the block she was at, it's like a corner store or whatever. They were like, looking at her, like pointing at her, like, is she crazy or whatever? And she said, "These people are just so weird. Like, why do they keep looking at me?" So she go in, and my uncle's girlfriend asked her. She says, "How did you get back home?" She said, "Oh, Miss," well, this day her name is Miss Smith. I can't remember the lady's name. She showed me the way back home. She said, "No, she didn't." She said, "Yes, she did." She said, "That's impossible because she's been dead for 5 years." And after my aunt heard
Wow.
that, she packed her stuff and left the next day to go back to Ohio. And it came to find out that the lady, my uncle's girlfriend, do voodoo, and the lady that she used to talk to did voodoo. So she's like, "I'm about to be sitting in here, and you got spirits talking to me, and I'm thinking that they're real." Because she sees them when she sees spirits, it's like flesh and blood. She's not thinking that they're spirit. She was not playing that, and that happens to her quite often. Like she, my aunt house, my aunt's friend was murdered, and I didn't know this till after at all. I didn't know nothing about this. I just felt what was happening in her house. But my aunt was like, she was laying there, and she saw this lady with this gown on, and she had blood coming out of her neck, and she walked up towards her and turned around. And when she saw the lady didn't have no feet. And my she told my aunt, she said, "Oh," she said, "I think that spirit of my friend who died in here." My aunt left her house and moved with my other aunt the next day.
Wow. Now, somebody want to know, have you heard about any Dugmans hanging out in graveyards?
I have never heard of that. I heard of hellhounds hanging out in graveyards. That's the only dog that
See,
I know that is
that's
big,
what
giant.
what is a hellhound?
You know what a
Me
hellhound
myself,
is?
I don't know what it is. I heard of it, but they supposed to be black with red eyes, but I really don't know what they is. Is they some type of Dugman? I
It's a
don't
demon.
know.
It's a demon dog. Supernatural. It's not flesh and blood. My grandmother used to say she's seen some of those in her lifetime. You know, that's what it is. It's a hellhound.
Mm.
Supernatural. Like, it would disappear, though. It's not where it can, it probably can attack you, try to take your, it's looking for a soul to get into. That's what it is. Looking to take a soul. But it's not a flesh and blood that you can shoot at these things. Those are the only things I know that's standing at the ain't gonna graveyard hellhound. And I don't know
Damn.
why they try to come out and let somebody doing some old type of weird occult magic sorcery stuff
Right.
when they being disturbed. You know,
Wow. That's crazy. But like I said though, man, these things is unpredictable. You know, we don't know how many type of these cryptids out here or how many types of these hybrids out here. We don't know, and I don't think
yeah,
we'll never know. You know, cause somebody always say they seen something else. Oh, I seen this. I seen this thing that was walking and it had the head of a squirrel. They're gonna start coming out with all type of stuff. You're gonna have a squirrel cryptid. What the
yeah.
hell?
You know, I have, like, I used to go to this website called paranormal.about.com. It's another, they changed the name of it now, but I used to hear a lot of weird humanoid things that I have that is unseen. But they didn't call Rake Man. They didn't call Rake Man back then Rake Man. They called it something else. I can't remember what it was. But this was the early 2000s, and the Rake Man that they didn't say it was a Rake Man. They just said it was a humanoid with pale skin, and didn't look like it didn't have they said it didn't have no eyes. It's more it had like a teeth only. You know, tall, lanky thing. You know, that's I have read that a lot of different areas throughout the United States, and I'm like, okay, these people to me, these people they not lying. You know, I hate when someone say that someone is lying about what they've seen, because if you get people who experience the same thing throughout the whole world, it's like, what did that tell you? You know,
That's crazy.
I've heard a lot of weird things that on that website of different humanoid looking creatures that it's scary to even think about them.
Yeah, it really is though. You know what I mean? That's why it makes a person stop and it make a person think. You know, that's like some people, a lot of people say, man, I want to see a Doug, man. I want to do this. You don't really want to see these things. You know what I mean? You want to leave these things where they at. Leave them in the woods. If you
Yeah.
haven't seen one yet, you know what I mean? Most likely, and you keep going out every day, you trust me, you probably not gonna see one. It's people been chasing these things for 40 years. And all they saw was some eye shine and pointy ears
See,
and a snout, but they still
you know,
chasing after it.
what's crazy that this guy that I was listening to, and he said that I don't know was somebody, some survivors or somebody was like a bunch of people been attacked by dog men, and it was a little girl left or something like that, and she said that what happened, and she was like it was just a big giant wolf that killed everybody, and this is like way back in the day. I'm trying to remember what year he said this was, and I'm like, that's the only witness this little girl had was a big giant wolf. He said, well, how tall was it? The man described what he was saying. The little girl said, she said that it was big, like, if it was a my height, they was like, no, it was bigger, like, way bigger than
Wow.
a normal human being. But
Dang, that's crazy.
I have read a lot of different dog man things. Um, you know, these things are bold. They even break into people's houses and stuff.
Oh yeah, they're coming to your house. Now I was remember the other night I was telling the count about the guy who had the treehouse, and this thing was living in this treehouse. You know, now and that's creepy. We know they go in
Yeah.
houses, but this guy treehouse, these things is bold. That means it
Now,
ain't nowhere that these things won't go.
Now I'm gonna tell you this. One day, I ain't gonna forget this smell. It smelled like straight up pneumonia piss outside. One day, it stinks so bad, my eyes start watering. My eyes turned red because that's how bad and strong it was. And I was like, why did somebody like everybody like a bunch of dogs came and took like a million dogs came and took a piss in this area one day. And I'm like, there's not even no dogs outside. Like, what is that smell coming from? It's just unbearable. Like the whole section of near the apartment is how bad it smells. Like not enough candle burning incense, air freshener smell would take that smell away. That's how bad it was.
Wow.
Like these things, they they something else.
Yeah, they definitely is, and they bold, cause now you'll see them in the daytime. You'll see them in the daytime, the mid afternoon, late afternoon, night. It don't matter. You will
But
see
that's
these.
crazy.
You'll see these things. They'll pop up and see. Like people will see these things through a scope, and it look like they only like 30 feet away. Man, sometimes these things be 100, 200 yards away. So
Wow.
they be off in a far distance. But that scope, it be so powerful, it's like they're only about 20, 30 feet away. But trust me, they be far away. They know right where to be at.
See,
You
you know
know?
what's crazy? Because during the daytime, when the snow was out, because my mother lived in the back of the apartment on our patio, right? And it was untouched snow. But when we came back, it was all trampled with those prints all over the place. It's like they pick and choose the time of day they come out. Like they want to. It's like they want to play like some whole type of hide and seek or something. That's what it seems like to me.
Damn.
And then see how like the tracks is really bad. Like I really wish I'm gonna take more pictures of it though, but the snow be so deep that it's kind of hard to get inside the snow to take pictures. But through the whole like it's like 5 apartment complex, right? And in between the complex is a big it's a vacant lot in between the apartments, right?
Mm-hmm.
You put another apartment in between if you want to, because they got to spread off like that. But in
Right.
between, those prints was all over the whole entire property of the park. Oh, let me tell you what happened too, right? You know those things, the trough that go inside the house where the water drains out?
Right.
Okay, ours is built on the inside, so it won't stick on the outside because they know that if it stick on the outside, it does more damage. Like it just damage, right? So one day, then was driving and it pulled the trough out of the building. It ripped it out of the building because it was built inside the building very well. Like it's built in the building where you didn't know that it was built inside the building. It yanked it out.
Right.
And when that happened, the people that who like have in front of their apartment, they moved out like a couple of days later after that happened. They didn't even move. They haven't been in not even a full year, and that's the crazy part. You can see the footprints all like on the ground and everything. I was like, wow. I was like, they definitely moved out. I
That's
mean, if my neighbor,
crazy.
oh, that was some ice. I said, that was not no ice. It was on that part of the building, period. Ice don't even get on these buildings. You know what I'm saying? It may be snow, but I don't see no ice melting down to come down like that. The rain get out of the building. Like, come on now. Like, just think. Use your head, lady. That's what I'm thinking. Like, and I said, wherever it is, it scared the people for them to move out in the couple of days afterwards. So tell me what's wrong. What about that situation? Didn't
Wow.
happen for me.
Wow. Now that's creepy.
And for
That is creepy.
over here next to me, people are always leaving out of this building all the time. No one ever stays there not even a full year. Even in this building. I'm surprised this guy who lived under me stayed here for almost 2 years now. I'm surprised he hasn't moved yet. Everybody else stayed 3 to 6 months and leave. Break their lease.
Mm-mm-mm.
But I do believe that the area is over there, across the street over there where we at, in that wood line,
I mean,
by that.
yeah, I definitely believe it too. Too much activity done been happening back there.
Let me tell you what's weird about this thing, right? Because you go back there, right? It's trees around it, but in a section of it, it's an opening. It's a section of it, right? A big opening, but around is a ton of trees. But what's crazy is that somebody put a for sale sign right there, right? Do you know they took that for sale sign away? They're not even selling it anymore. Never said why. Before, because I've been over here for a long time in this area, right? No one have never put a sale sign up. It was just an empty lot, okay, a vacant, acres of land. I mean, it was no houses on there, but they took the sign away, and then they got no trespassing now with a chain across it.
Wow.
So they must know something that we don't know.
Absolutely, absolutely. They do. They do. That's why I say, man, the government, the government will never reveal this to the public. They will never do this about these werewolves, whatever you want to call them, these cryptids. They never gonna say it's one of these things running around in these state parks or forests. They will never ever release that to the public.
Yeah, and that's just like it's like they was tearing down trees in some parts, like some of these acres over here, like certain areas. They no longer tear them down now. They took the for sale sign away. And I'm like, okay, why would you tear it down anyway? It doesn't make any sense. And then you got the light company is like cutting down part of the trees because the trees are gotten so big and tall and it's messed up the wiring, so they had to cut some of it like in between the tree and stuff. But still, and then they like one street, the one main road, they completely gutted, took all the trees down on one side. But I hate when they do that because it seems like it makes the activity higher in the area.
Right. But that's
You know,
crazy.
you got these men who come out and do surveys, but they need to start doing surveys at nighttime to see it's a good area to build in. You just don't tear down somebody's little tree area to build something. Like,
Right.
you know, pretty soon they're gonna be sitting on our front lawn and people front lawn and porch like, look, we ain't got nowhere to go. We just gonna take over your area.
Right. You're absolutely right. And that's just that's probably just about that's just how it's gonna be too. You know, cause they gonna move. They can go from area to area, so it ain't like they gotta stay in one area. These things can move
Right.
around. You
And
know,
then
and they gonna follow. They gonna follow the food. But if it's food and water in an area, I don't see them having to migrate. They don't have to move,
it's
especially if it's not bothered by man. If man ain't traveling through this area, and they don't have to
now
worry about them. These creatures will not move if it's plenty of food, the resources they need, and water.
now up north, I've been hearing that up north, I've been hearing a lot of complaints about not having enough deer, people to kill deers and stuff. And up north is straight just a forest area. It looks very beautiful. The lakes are crystal blue. Okay, one of the beautiful lakes I have ever seen going up north. But they got a lot of land there, and a lot of land is for sale, and nobody's buying the land. You know what I mean? They got a very small population of people up north. I mean, it's populated, but not like populated is down, going towards south of Michigan. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because
It's
you
so
got
much.
lakes, you got two. Some of the lakes got
It's
two big giant,
it,
islands in the middle of the lake
this is
where they do let you come on it, like because it's a camping ground. But I still wouldn't do it because it looks creepy.
this is
Okay,
this is the thing though.
no,
It's so much unknown land that man ain't even touched,
yeah,
ain't even been in. And these
now,
creatures can just run around all day, play and have fun
now,
because they
peep this.
know ain't nobody gonna come back there.
Let me peep this out, right? It had this land on sale in Upper Michigan, right? It had three lakes around it. It was like the one major lake was like Lake Superior or whatever you want to call it, and it was 1,000 acres of land. And to me, I thought they kind of sold the property cheap to me. I don't know if anybody bought it yet, but last time I heard nobody buy it. But they wanted $1 million for it. I'm like, okay, you asked $1 million for 1,000 acres of land when you know it's worth more than that. Why are you selling it so cheap?
Right.
Those prices, those type of prices there is like you could get those type of prices like somewhere else or even more land because it's going south. But when you come up north, you don't sell those properties that cheap like that.
Right.
Because anytime you start to sell off property of 75 acres of land for $20,000 up north, something is wrong with that. Then after you see
Right.
another a price drop, it's like you're basically giving the property away for free.
Right.
So people should start questioning these people when you start want to buy acres of land and build houses. You should ask them why they selling property so cheap. What are you not telling me?
Right. And you're right. But I would A question I wanted to know was how often do these things breed, or what month do they breed when they go in heat?
I want to know that too. That's a good question.
You know, and how many young do they have? Three, four.
I mean, because the blight look like, because it do, it do like a big old dog, you know what I'm saying, but vicious, like it never had rabies shot. I think that it probably do breed a, a litter of them things like a normal dog would have. You know, some dogs might have like 4 or 5 or 6 babies. They probably breed more than that.
Right. Wait a minute, Marquette, I'm coming. Yeah, that's what you gotta think about though, because that could be it too. That could be it
If
too.
it is deer out there, where are they going to? Because I know Michigan is known for having deers because my coworker where I used to work at, she said that they used to have a lot of deer on their property, and she said that for some reason they haven't seen deer on their property for forever, and that was way back in 2017. So where are the deer going if it's not on their property?
Okay. Okay, I got you on that. It's just, you know,
I just think that's just strange.
right,
I mean, it look like deers that never existed over here.
right.
Because we used to have deer so bad that people used to hit deers because we used to have those signs. They still have those signs out though, but they had signs like, please watch out for deer. It would tell you that, or your car get damaged. Because I got
You
deer
ain't
insurance on my vehicle because
right.
I used to have them dart out in front of my vehicle, but now it's like I'm determined I should take it off now because I don't see them anymore.
Yeah. Do anybody else have any more questions that they want to ask Marquetta before we shut it down? Anybody? I think that might be it. Well, Marquetta, thank you again for coming on.
You're welcome.
And and talking about what you know about them and what your grandmother seen and your mother and just your neighbors and stuff like that. And I like to thank the moderators that showed up and showed out as always. But I ain't gonna hold you up, Marquetta. Thanks again, and you know, love to have you come back. If you got some more pictures, send them to me so I can check them out. Cause I know you probably got some more.
Okay.
Send them to me and let me check them out. Now I'm gonna post them on the group, and I'm gonna let them see it, and and they can give me their give us their input on them.
Okay.
Do you have any closing words that you would like to say before I let you go? Any anything about these cryptids or anything else, or you would like to say to the members?
So far, if you see them things, stay away from them. Don't shoot at them things at all.
Right. And you know what? I agree. I agree with you. I definitely agree with you on that. Leave the gun home. Because I
Because
said
those
it and I'm gonna
will
say, huh?
they will retaliate on you.
And I always said this. I said, one of these days, man, somebody gonna go out and try to bag and kill one of these things, and it ain't gonna be pretty.
No, it's not.
It's really not. Somebody gonna wind up getting killed. Then you're gonna have these military going in and through these forests and all that. But you got to think.
You
I
know what?
think
You want to think about this because we didn't have military helicopters. It wasn't no regular police helicopter. I know the difference that we had military helicopters come through here at nighttime and shine through the area
because they know they either
because
tracking or they either trying to track them and follow and monitor these creatures. Because trust me, all all these cryptids, they didn't catch no these creatures like that. I don't give a fuck how good your technology is.
because you know
These
what? One
creatures are advanced.
I was here. I think it was like a couple of months in, like during the summer, and it was two big military helicopters. So zoom it down. I mean, the light was so bright. They shined. It came through our apartment, through everybody's apartment. That's how bright it was. And then on top of that, it was at nighttime. Then on top of that, we was ready to leave out. We saw like two of the military trucks going down the street.
Right.
I'm like, going to and why are they shining in the little area where the wood area is at and stuff? They was down low. I'll never forget that right there. I thought that was kind of strange.
Right. And I believe you though, but see the thing is though, they always think that, what I mean, I'm gonna go in there with a this kind of gun and that kind of gun. It don't matter though, yo. Sure, these creatures done took shots and this and I mean, it's people done said that they have killed it. Oh, my uncle killed the dog, man, and they chopped it up. Okay, this supposed to happen so many years ago. Oh, we chopped the body up and buried it and all that. You know what I mean? I wasn't there, so I don't know. You know, but I don't think that we ain't the public ain't seen a body where somebody could say that they killed this thing. We only can go by what people have told us and the stories that been passed down. But without proof, then it's like, who gives?
And you
Without
know what's
proof.
crazy in our area? I know that for a fact. And on top of that, every now and then throughout, like, during the year, in the nighttime, they do fly their helicopters. And it do not be the police helicopters or the news helicopters at all.
No, Joy, she never been on that. Yeah, but like I said, man, thanks for coming on again, Marquetta, and man, that really mean a lot, man, because I was in a bind and I really needed to get somebody to come on tonight, and I was like, you know what, let me call her and see if she'd come on, and I'm really glad you did.
Thank you.
So I hope you can look through your phone and find some. Um, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna let you go, but I'm gonna close this out. I'm gonna text you back to see if you found any more of them pictures or videos.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
No problem.
All right.
Bye
Good
bye.
night. All right. Bye bye. All right. That we had the guest on there, and that was a good guest, man. And I'm glad she came on there to share her things. Somebody always putting up these ones. Y'all need to stop. But I'm glad that she came on, and she did that. It was a great show, y'all. All right, but I'm not gonna do it that long though. I'm gonna give y'all, I think, guess a little bit more, a little bit more to encounter that I was telling the other day about the treehouse. All right, so without further ado, let's jump right into this encounter. As y'all know, or where I stopped off at, this thing had jumped down, and he said it sounded heavy when it hit the ground, and it just broke. It just started running. It took off. He didn't go up in the treehouse to check it that night. He went back in the house. Went back in the house and he told his wife, make sure you keep the doors and windows locked. Because now they he know what he saw. He know that it wasn't a human. So wife goes in there and go to bed. He stays up all night. He said about 2:30 in the morning. That's when he hear this loud thump. Boom. And he hears it on the roof. That's when he hear the footsteps. Boom, 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 boom. It's walking on his roof. It walks from one side, it comes back, and then it walks to the other side. And he just walking around looking up saying, what the? All of a sudden, he hear loud, and it hit the ground on the side of their house. He don't go to the door. He don't open it. He don't look out the windows. He just stand there in a daze. And he looking on the side where this thing jumped down at. He said that's when he hear the footsteps. Boom, boom, boom. He said this thing had to be heavy because it's loud. He can hear the steps from inside the house. Boom, boom, boom. And then he said this thing stops when it gets to the front of his house. And he stands there and he facing the front to where the door is at. He said that's when he can hear boom. He hears something step up on the porch. The little small porch that they had. But he hears something step up on it. He's still looking towards the door. That's when he hear these steps walk again towards the opposite side of the house. Boom, boom, boom. It walks past the window. This thing walks past the window. He see the shadow. And then it just walks off the porch. He still stay in the same spot. He don't want to make no noise because he don't want to wake his wife. He's still listening. That's when he said he hit his what to him what he said it sounded like a loud snort. Like this thing was clearing his nose or something. He said he couldn't explain it though. But he hear a loud snort. Then he hear this low growl. And when he hear this low growl, that's when he can hear this thing just take off running. Because he can hear when it hit the tree line. Because of the noise that it's making. Now mind you, he don't go to sleep none that night. He stays up. The next day he gets up, he goes down to his treehouse. And when he get down there, he can see that the 2x4s was tore off that he put up. So he nailed them back up again. He talked to his wife that day because she was going to go in town to grab some groceries. So she leaves and she goes in town. He stays home. He looking at his watch. He calling her. Is you on your way? What's taking you so long? He's asking her all these questions because he's concerned, and now it's getting dark. But it wasn't dark yet. So she calls him back and she tells him, baby, I'm on my way. I'm trying to hurry up home. Said, okay. That's when he sits by the window. Got the curtain open just enough where he can look out and he can see his wife when she's coming up. So he's sitting there, gun in hand. He's watching. As he's watching, he says something catches his eye. This dark figure that was moving so fast from tree to tree. And then it stopped. And when it stopped, it walked from behind the tree. That's when he locked eyes on this creature. He looked, and he's looking at this thing that he never saw before. Because to him, it looked just like a dog, but it's standing up on his hind legs. This is what he said it looked like to him. But it wasn't right. He said this thing had arms with hands. And it's just standing there. That's when this thing started to sniff the air, he said. And when it sniffed the air, it just stopped. His head just stopped. And it's looking right over at him. Like it knew he was watching it. He knew the spot where this man was sitting at. And he said he don't know how, but he can feel his eyes watching him. He could feel this thing watching him. He said that's when this thing starts to walk towards the front of the house. And when it walks towards the front of the house, it stops about 5 feet from the porch. He said this thing took one leap and it jumped back up on the roof. Now, mind you, his phone rings now. It's his wife. She said, I'm coming up the driveway. It had a long driveway, but she said, I'm coming up there now. He said, no, baby, hold up, wait. She said, no, I'm tired and I want to hurry up and get in the house. He said, baby, please, no, hurry up, wait. Just wait. She said, no, I'll be up there shortly. And she hung up the phone. Now he's mad. He's pissed off. That's when he hear the footsteps again, walking from side to side. He say that's when he can see the lights coming up. And he know it's his wife. She slowly pulls up. But she don't get out the car. She calls him. And she say, baby, it's something on the roof. I'm going to stop right there. Just wanted to give y'all a little bit. Give y'all the rest on the next one. But like I said, I want to thank everybody for coming out, showing up, showing out. I want to thank all the moderators that showed up. I want to thank the support. I want to thank everybody that came in the chat. I want to thank all the likes that we got. Man, y'all the best. Y'all the best. I mean, what more can I say? Y'all the best. You know, and I love each and every one of y'all. Thank you, Nugi. Thank you, Tracy. Southern guy. I mean, thank everybody that showed up. Everybody that showed up, thank y'all. You know, thank each and every one of y'all. That's okay. Rick, I know you had business to take care of. That's right. Get them evidence. Good night, Barbara. And as always, thank each and every one of y'all. And Lisa, I know you probably had something to do. Don't worry about it. You can go back and listen to it. Man, thank each and every one of y'all, man. And you know what? We're gonna keep doing this. We're gonna keep showing up. We're gonna keep showing out. We're gonna keep doing what we do. Um, I guess everybody gonna go in the chat and talk, and we can try to, if not tonight, try to discuss Saturday's live stream. We can start working on that now. Um, but as always, love y'all. I'm grateful for everybody showing up, man. Thanks. And I'll see each and every one of y'all on the next live. Good night, y'all.